Hello and welcome to the News Minutes live coverage of the Prajwal Revanna videos, the story so far. I am Dhanya Rajendran and joining me are my colleagues Anisha Seth and Shivani Kawa. Both have been reporting on the Prajwal Revanna videos. Before I go to Anisha and Shivani, just for our viewers from across India who may not be aware of all the developments that have been happening, Prajwal Revanna is the leader of the Janata Dal Secular, a young politician, 33-year-old politician who is a member of parliament from the Hassan constituency. He's the NDA's candidate. This time the election for that seat got over in the last phase. Now, just before the elections happened, in Hassan, a lot of pen drives were distributed by anonymous people. These pen drives were kept in various places, including railway stations, bus stands, shops, parks. These pen drives had around 3,000 video clips. We have reconfirmed this with the police. There were around 3,000 video clips, but the number of women in these video clips we are not clear about. Some say the number is 100, while others say the numbers could be as high as 300. In some of the videos, it is very clear that the women are being sexually assaulted. I'm going to ask Anisha first. Where does the case stand now? How many complaints have been filed against Prajwal Revanna now?
So at present, there are three cases filed, three FIRs, and the first one was filed on May 29th. And two FIRs have been filed against HD Revanna, who is Deve Gowda's grandson. Deve Gowda is the former Prime Minister of India.
Deve Gowda's son?
Yeah, Deve Gowda's son. Yeah. And Revanna has been accused of kidnapping one of the complainants, one of the women who is allegedly sexually abused by Prajwal Revanna. And in another complaint, which was the last one that was filed, a woman, a JDS party worker, has accused Prajwal Revanna of raping her and recording the assault.
Okay, so what you're saying is that there are complaints both against H.T. Revanna, the father, and Prajwal Revanna, the son. Against Prajwal Revanna, there are two complaints filed by two women. Against H.T. Revanna, there is a complaint of sexual abuse. One woman has said that both the father and the son were sexually abusing.
Yes.
There is also another complaint of kidnapping a woman who was sexually assaulted by Prajwal Revanna. So the son and the father are facing serious charges. Where is Prajwal Revanna believed to be? H.T. Revanna has been arrested. Shivani, tell us, where is Prajwal Revanna believed to be?
So right after the elections, Prajwal Revanna left for Germany is what we know so far, and there were two lookout notices issued by the SIT, which he has responded to. One saying that since he's away from the country, he sought 7 days to come back to the country, but SIT has issued another lookout notice, and we know that SIT has also issued a blue corner notice asking for help from different countries if they know any information about Prajwal Revanna or about his location.
Yeah. So basically, Prajwal Revanna, from what I know from political sources, is that there's no way that he was planning to come back before Karnataka's second phase of elections conclude, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow, Karnataka goes to polls again, right? And after that, perhaps Prajwal Revanna will come back. He will have to face the consequences of what he's been accused of. Now to the more important part of the story, which is the fact that Shivani and Anisha have met one family in which there are two sisters. The two sisters were working for H.T. Revanna in two different farmhouses. One sister was sexually assaulted. Nobody had a clue about this. She stopped working there around 3 years ago. She had come back to her house in Mysuru. She was living there. These are two different places where it happens, Mysuru and Hassan. So she comes back to Mysuru. It is afterwards that the family discovers that her videos too were there. Could you tell us what her daughters told you, Anisha? You have been speaking to her daughters, her son-in-law. They were not aware of the tapes at all, right? For some time, till she was kidnapped.
Yes. So they only realized. So she was working with this. She was working in H.D. Revanna's farmhouse. She got that work through and somebody from her village who happens to be a relative of Bhavani Revanna, who is Revanna's wife. So both of them are from the same village, and that's how she ended up working there. Suddenly, 3 years ago, she quit working there. She came back to her hometown in Mysuru, and just before the elections, that man, Satish Babanna, came and asked her to go to Revanna's house. So then he dropped her back on the same day, and
Or
a few
maybe
days later, again he comes for her in the night, insisting that he accompany her. So they sent her off. The family sent her off because they had no idea what was going on. It was Revanna who had summoned her, so she had to go. So that was the impression that they were under. Couple of days later, over the next couple of days, when they tried to reach her, they couldn't. And this man, Satish Babana, who took her, he kept telling them that she had been arrested by the police and that they would have to arrange bail for her.
so I just want to interrupt. Imagine the audacity. First, you have basically abducted a woman from her family, and when her family asks where she is, the man who is the henchman of the Revanna says that, oh, the police have arrested her, you will have to now apply for bail. So they're instilling fear in this family. And then finally, they realize that she's sexually assaulted, right?
Yeah. So in the after this, the woman's son, his friends have come and called him up and told him that your mother is there in these videos. A couple of relatives of this woman have also told the son that your mother is there in the videos. So that's when the family finds out that this you they connect the dots and realize what has actually happened, that this woman had been sexually abused probably so many years ago, and now she had been kidnapped. So that's when they go and file the complaint with the Mysuru police, narrating all of this whole ordeal.
So now the woman is back home, and the special investigation team has taken her into custody. Not into custody. They're basically giving her protection, and they are questioning her. They have to now we have to see what FIR is registered against Prajwal Revanna. But what I've been told is that there are more than 3 or 4 video clips of the same woman, and in one of the videos she is seen tied up, and she is begging to the person to let her go. We have not seen the video ourselves, but we've been told there are at least 3 or 4 clips of the same woman. Now, you also met her daughters, right, Shivani? You met her daughters and her sister. The daughters were also completely unaware of this.
Yeah, the daughters were completely unaware of it, and it seemed like they were trying to understand what was happening, what was the situation like, and more or likely, in daughters' village, the residents were quite understanding of the situation, in the sense, why should we talk about this issue when somebody else has done the mistake. But when we went to the sisters, the survivor sisters' house, the first reaction was she teared up in front of us, and she then goes on to feel some kind of a regret over, like, my sister hasn't shared this with me, she's been working there for years, and 3 years before she left the job, even then she never thought of sharing this with. So, there's this one thing she told us, um, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನನ್ನ ಅಕ್ಕ ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿದಾಳೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅವಳನ್ನ ಬಲಾತ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ವೇರ್ ಶಿ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಮೈ ಸಿಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ fault or she's done something wrong, but she was raped. And so that sense of sadness is there, where she feels why couldn't my sister share it with her. But apart from that, the family itself doesn't know what to talk about. That this is what the sister told us, we don't know what to talk about anymore, and the house is like a graveyard where it's they're all silent, they don't know what to talk about.
So do log on to the newsminute.com. You can, it is right on our homepage, this story which has been done by Shivani and Anisha, where they have spoken to the family of this woman. Please remember that when we cover stories of sexual assault, we do not mention the name of the village, we do not mention the name of the family, because we don't want any identifiers. In fact, when these two went there, the family itself said that we don't want to reveal our names. Even to them, they were not ready to reveal their names. Of course, the matter is that we would never have written it anyway, but they did not want to mention their names. This is one huge problem in Hassan, that there are a lot of women who perhaps were sexually assaulted, but they fear coming out, as there would not be justice through the media also. The media would then be outside their houses, their identities would be revealed, their families would be compromised. This has become a huge problem. In fact, we are hearing that in many places, families have gone missing. Can you imagine? Around 100 women, or let us take the larger number, right, which is 300, which people are saying now. Women who have been coerced into having sex, women who never knew that they were getting recorded, or women who perhaps knew they were getting recorded, but not that it would be shared with the world. Their videos were put into pen drives, and it is distributed all over the place for everyone to watch. Now, most women who perhaps knew this man are under suspicion. People who work with him are under suspicion. people who knew the family under suspicion, and many families have gone missing because they find this shame too much to bear. Right, Anisha?
Yes. So there's now a lot of suspicion because anybody who is remotely connected with Prajwal Revanna is now suspect as to uh, was she in the videos, right? There's a perverse kind of curiosity about who is in the videos, and people are trying to guess who they are. So it's like it is public knowledge, and people just don't know how to deal with this anymore because something of this scale has not been heard of. So yeah,
No, that's actually the thing. Something of this scale has never been heard of. We have we have covered over the years so many cases where politicians have been accused of sexual assault, sexual abuse, sexual harassment, but nothing of this scale. But despite that, we fear that this man can get away if the witnesses, if the complainants are not given the support by both society, by the government, by the police, because there are already suspicions about bribes being given, about threats and intimidation. That's something that I want to speak to both Shivani and Anisha, any one of you about. You went to Hole Narsipura, which is the base of this family, and you really saw the fear that people have, right? The kind of influence the family has.
yeah. So one point I would like to make, I forgot to mention it earlier, is that see the scale of this is unprecedented, right? Like even when the SIT issued a press release last night, they made it a point to say that it is not the women in these videos who have committed a crime or something like that. That the people who are at fault are the ones who committed the abuse and spread the videos. So that in itself is kind of strange coming from the cops. So coming back to your question about the atmosphere of fear in Hola Narsipura, like so when Shivani and I were researching for the story, so Deve Gowda and his son Revanna, they've held that constituency for 50 years. And since Revanna took over after he became Jilla Panchayat members in the last 25 years or so, he has exerted a lot of control over this particular district. And people are really scared of him, and it's kind of like an open secret. So even the people who spoke to us freely, if you ask them, aren't you scared? They're like, yeah, there is fear. But then they'll turn around and say, no, I don't quite, poke my nose in anybody else's business. So everybody acknowledges that.
There is an element of fear.
Yeah.
And Shivani, there was a young woman you spoke to when you went to record a video. I mean, I would like we'll put all this in the comment sections, the video which Shivani and Anisha had shot. We'll put that also in the comment section if you haven't watched it yet. So they spoke to a young woman, a college going student, who told Shivani that she is disappointed with what happened. And then in a few hours, she finds Shivani's Instagram page. And what does she tell you?
Yeah, so she speaks to us and she's spoken about like how Bhavani and Revanna used to come to their college and give speeches about how Bhavani used to often like tell them in this college apparently that she has two sons and every other girl student in the college was like her daughter. So this woman, she tells us like if she had done if one of Prajwal had done something like this to like her daughter, if somebody had done something like this to her daughter, would she have done the same thing? And she kind of asked like Revanna family to rather than standing by him, you should be condemning what he has done. And then few hours later, she finds me on Instagram and she requests me to not to publish the video. In fact, she then goes on to say like my parents, I told them that I gave an interview to you and they have threatened me that they won't let me inside the house if the video is published. So that is the kind of fear we're talking about.
So this fear of viewers is not just for people, it's also for the women in the videos. A lot of the women, we have been told, are actually wives or part of families which have traditionally been supporters of the Janata Dal Secular or the JDS. There are also wives of family members of officers, bureaucrats, etc. So they are under a lot of pressure to not speak up. But we are hearing that more and more women are coming out, or the numbers are going up. Some reports say 5, some reports say 9. We do not have any confirmation of sorts, which is why we are not giving you any of these numbers. But this is really the story. The story of women who had to undergo sexual assault, and then perhaps they never told their families, they did not confide in anyone. And one fine day, their videos are out there for the world to see, their faces unblurred, and they have to live this shame over and over again. Imagine these videos are all across the place. In fact, Anisha was telling me about a man who told you that he is now not allowing his children to use WhatsApp because it is being forwarded that much.
Yeah, so the first time when we went to Hassan and Hall and Narsipura, that was something we would just talk to everybody, right? Like, what do they think? So, and the thing about the children, especially teenagers, is one thing that we made it a point to ask. And one of these men was like, his kids were teenagers, I think 15 or 17, 18 years old. And he was like, no, I'm not going to, I've stopped, banned them from using WhatsApp. So, I tried to ask him, but are you going to talk to them? Because they should know how to understand what has happened, right? Because even if they ban their children from using WhatsApp at home, their children are still going to go to school. They're still going to socialize with their friends, right? And these discussions will be there. So he didn't quite have an answer for that. I suspect that that's because they don't know how to deal with this. I mean, in fact, like it raises so many questions, right, for society as a whole.
So this has become a huge social problem, really. It's not just about Prajwal Revanna and bringing him to justice. It's about all these women, whether they can really go back into their lives, whether their lives will ever become normal, because people all around them, including their own family members, have now realized that they are in these videos. Now, whether people believe it was consensual, non-consensual, whatever it is, the women have still come under scrutiny. There are also many Instagram accounts. We have been sending them to the police also, which have taken some of these videos and they have made montages out of it, collages out of it, and they're putting this out continuously. So we're hoping that some of these will be taken down. I'm going to end this live by giving you a news update that H.D. Devagowda and Kumaraswamy have gone to the city civil court in Bengaluru, and they've got a partial gag order on 82 media houses. Thankfully, it's a partial gag which says that media cannot report anything in negative light about these two people when it comes to Prajwal Revanna videos. But if the media has the truth, then they can go ahead and report it. The News Minute has been continuously reporting about how Bengaluru courts give gag orders left, right, and center. Me and Shivani had gone through all gag orders given by Bangalore courts in the last few years, and to our surprise and shock, we found that there are around 600 cases against media houses in Bengaluru. Imagine an organization like the Hindu has around 100 to 200 gag orders in Bengaluru and just two in Chennai. And their headquarters is in Chennai. They have two gag orders there, more than 100 in Bengaluru. That's how ridiculous it is. We are not named in this gag order. So continue to read our work, watch our work, and remember, tomorrow is the elections here in Karnataka. The story is not about election. The story is not even just about accountability and Prajwal Revanna. It is about these women who have to relive this trauma again and again. And we will keep reporting on the story. In fact, Anisha and Shivani will be going back to Hassan to report. Uh, on your side, become a subscriber, support our work, keep watching and keep reading. Thank you very much.